the praise. You know what? Suga just came in. I want to definitely give praise to her and the amazing job she did at corralling all of ECC and getting the TEC well represented inside the conference. Thank you so much for that help, Suga. You deserve so much praise. I also want to give major praise to the PARAMS forum team. That's Nate, Mitch, Lauren, and Mount Manu, and probably some others that helped. That like the forum posts for the parameters are just looking so good. If you need to know anything about it, and I was even able to tweet some of them the other day because they're just so fun. Also want to give major praise to Chewy and Julie for setting up such a good time in Paris, making everything so easy for us. I want to give praise to Tam for taking some vacation. She needs it, man. She's been killing it. And I want to give praise to Dan, to Septimus, to Nate, to Wonka, to Christopher, to me, to who else got COVID? All the TEC people who were there, to Chewy and Daniela, and to all the other TEC
Eduardo.
people who risked their lives to come to FCC in Paris and ended up getting COVID. You guys deserve endless, endless praise. And with that, I'll pass it to Wonka.
Thank you, Griff. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to praise you because like you are an amazing leader, and yeah, you encourage us all to like continue pushing towards these amazing initiatives. And um, like I feel very well, and I would do it again, even though that we got COVID, because it was an amazing experience. I want to praise Mitch because he inspired me to make a mullet. And I want to praise Julie also for her caring assistance there in Paris. Dan and Septi for being amazing roommates. And also, I would like to praise Suga because her daughter gave us a very amazing drawing, and we take a book that is called The Blue of the Night, written by her. So yeah, I am super happy about that experience. Also praise Acid Laser for helping with Gravity's infographics, and also Chewy for being working like uh, uh, an animal in Paris. And I will pass it to Septimus.
And really quick, Wonka, are you down on the timer? Great.
Thank you, Juan.
1 minute.
Yeah, I wanna this prize to Juan actually because like every time I need support, he's my guy to go. I just ask to Juan. Uh, I wanna this praise to Katie for becoming a steward. I wanna this praise to Dan because all the moments we share on the SCC, like where Dan was, I was behind. So yeah, I wanna this praise to Griff, Julie, and Chewy because all the coordination for the event, it was amazing. I want to give praise to Mitch, Lauren, and Manu and Nate for all the writing content. Like you guys are killing it. All the if I didn't hear wrong, it's only 2 posts missing. So yeah, thank you guys. And yeah, I'll pass it to Acid Laser.
Hello everyone. I'd like to praise David and Ivy for their amazing contributions in camps. Ivy for always being everywhere, helping, and to Mount Manu for his contributions and for being in charge of Commons config dashboard, and for all the team who was in Paris doing an amazing work. And I'll pass it to Chewy.
Thanks, Acid Laser. I'd like to praise uh, Griff, Tam, Livy for uh, their leadership and just everything inspiring that happened in Paris. I'd like to praise Juanca for Juanca and Dan actually for that night. We stayed up listening to vallenato and just a bunch of music. Um, it was fun. Oh, Libby was there also, and yeah, it was. I'm missing these moments already so much. Um, I'd like to praise Mitch also for also inspiring a mullet soon, as soon as we get better, as soon as it's safe. um, I'd like to praise also Septi for all of his help and guidance. I'd like to praise Katie uh, for all of the tips for everyone that came from outside of Paris. I'd like to praise Odd, who is here because COVID back pain isn't easy. So hang on there. We're almost through with it. And um, I think that's it. I'll pass it to Livy.
Okay, here comes the Paris phrase too. So I want to praise Griff for the amazing adventure and for getting me into everything, and for taking care of everyone and just being super generous. And I want to praise um, Mateo for also being there with us. And I want to praise all the crew that was in the house for all the like very heartful conversations that we had that go beyond all the talks we can have in this chat. And want to praise Odd for we had an amazing brainstorming about governance and just the narratives of DAOs, and that went to uh, yeah, all even like sexuality, tantra, governance. How are they all together? I want to praise Michael for jumping into this call and collaborating with us with your project. And I'll pass to Katie.
You. I not to be exclusionary, but I totally also want to praise everybody who was in Paris last week. That was just such a profound week of bonding and learning, and that was a lot of fun. And of course, above all, I want to praise Griff for the generosity and just the energy. It's just such a wonderful community. And I don't want to, I don't know everybody's, I don't have a list. I didn't make a list of everybody's name, but just like crossing paths. And I want to praise Zepti for all the high fives. I want to praise Sam for the great dancing, and Juanca and Dan and Mateo. I want to praise Mateo and Livia and Griff for visiting me at my house. And and also I want to praise Odd for being our new bud. I guess, was that my timer? Is that me? I gotta go already? Oh dear. All right. So I love everybody. It's awesome. You're all wonderful. Oh, I have to praise Marie and Nick Mana real quick for holding down the fort for me while I was gone. Okay. Love you all. I'm passing to Mitch. Did you want to go, Mitch?
I didn't.
I had a mullet my whole life as a kid, by the way. I always had a mullet.
Wow. I'm so excited about all these mullets. We should make a gang. I'd like to praise Griff, obviously, for making that whole Paris trip possible. Praise to Julie for always being quick and responsive and staying on top of all the chaos. Praise to Nate, Sugar, Tam for holding down the table at ECC and spreading the word. Praise to Griff, Tam, Livy, and Dan for speaking at the conferences. Praise to Tam and Sugar for looking out for the TEC fam and keeping us together and healthy. Praise to Vitor, myself, Griff, Marco, and Nuggan for our work building the Commons config dashboard. And praise to Livy for having excellent conversation and joining me on adventures. And I will pass it to Ode.
Odd, are you there? You're muted. By the way, I'm Griff. I don't know if we've met. Yeah? Oh, now you're unmuted, but we can't hear you still. I'm going to pass it to David while Odd figures out her mic. David, you want to take it? Oh no, David's muted too.
Oh no, it's contagious.
Yeah,
Oh my
there you
gosh, it's way too early for me. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had great travels and amazing adventures and education in Paris. The photos and videos that I was able to see so far look just wonderful. Man, I got to hit one of these conferences. I don't really have much to report in your absence. I'll throw out a praise to Mount Manu for helping me walk through the Commons config dashboard and play with a few settings. So it was a bit of learning for me, getting ready for things to come. And with that, I just joined, so sorry I'm late, everyone. I'll pass it back to you, Mitch, to fire it off, or Griff, sorry, to fire it to the next appropriate person. Thanks.
Sure, I'll pass it to Anna Marie.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Hey, everyone. Yeah, cool. What to say? Huge praise to Nate in particular. He at the Taoist was just constantly on the desk all day, and he was wrangling and taking care of people and like checking in with me and seeing where. And I noticed him do that with numerous kind of people coming into the space, like at the unconference that seemed a bit certain. He'd take straight over to them and check how they were doing, and that's really incredibly lovely. What else? Yeah, I mean, praise, to Griff. It sounds like you just jumped on the stage without any kind of pre-warning that you do that, and like that's crazy. Hats off to you for doing that, and Livia and Tam for giving an exceptional presentation and sharing. Like whoever it was that shared, like, oh, it was the heart of it is talking about the cultural build is the heart. So very cool. I don't know who's been yet, so I'll throw it back to. I think who's facilitating this? Who am I even throwing it back to? Griff, maybe.
Me. And yeah, I keep track of all the chats. We'll pass it to Craig.
Did you say me, Griff? Nice. Thanks. Oh boy. I'll dish praise to Livy and Nate for taking over the stewards groups temporarily. And I'll leave it there. Griff, back to you.
Let's throw it over to Dan, who's just in this room over here.
Oh, what, Dan? I think I can see you, man. Oh my God, I see you. Yeah. Oh, I'm losing my time. Anyway, man, hardcore praise to the TEC. I mean, beautiful, beautiful meeting you guys. Like, I don't know, just listening to random songs and drinking some mezcal. Thanks, Shui. Praise you guys that came over to my talk. Praise Mitch. Praise Septi. Septi's like a friend for life now. We're gonna quarantine, so yeah. Praise Livy for the heart-to-heart conversations. Praise Anna Marie for sharing lunch. I mean, just having and sharing volunteering as a whole. You know, just diving into the space. Praise Katie for being the master of all volunteers, the super incredible master. Praise Griff for like being a machine of perpetual motion. You know, I mean, man, do you even stop ever? Like, doesn't look like you got COVID. You're lying, man. You just wanted to be. Oh yeah, and I guess I'm missing a bunch of people. But pass it back to you, man.
Yeah, well then let's. Is it Michael? Where?
Yes, Michael. Yeah, so I praise you that you were talking about conviction voting at the venue at ECC Paris, and that led me to meet Livia, whom I also want to praise for connecting me to Mount Manu, with whom I had a very nice discussion yesterday, and that basically brought me here. So I also want to praise him, of course, and yeah, want to pass it or give it back to you, Griff.
Sure, and you're probably going to have a lot more time than we expected to present your concept. Just to give you a heads up, because I think we're going to go pretty fast through all of our stuff. Yeah, and let's pass it. Let's see it. Odd, are you there, Odd? Did you get the mic sorted?
Yeah, does it work now?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
great. Yeah, because I'm coughing a lot, so I'm not able to talk too much. But sorry, starting again. I really want to, yeah, I mean, I was not prepared, obviously, for that. So I just want to praise everybody I met there, I guess, in Paris, because you showed me in person the whole fucking amount of love I grasped from some community calls I followed for a few months or even a year already, and I was just too shy to talk at. So yeah, thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you, Odd. And then I think last is Satyr ID. Do you have any praise to dish, Satyr?
Hello?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. No, I'm just new here. This is my first one, and just checking it out. So I guess praise everybody here.
Welcome.
Nice. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. So let's get this party started. Welcome to the community call, July 29th. Major praise to Ivy for always setting up these slides for us. She does such a good job in the back. If you guys like our praise system, it's really fun. You can be part of it. You can dish praise anytime. You don't have to do it just Thursday. Talk to Chris or any of the stewards about getting the power of praise. It just takes like a quick chat conversation to show you how you can dish praise in the Discord anytime. And if you want to like diversify your praise experience, you can even dish praise in Telegram. T.me/TE praise. If you join that channel, it'll be way easier to dish you praise sometimes. So definitely jump in there. Also, just as a reminder, all the time we really take conflict transformation seriously. And if you ever have an issue with anybody, or you just see someone else having a small little thing that's like, wow, why is that so awkward? Oh my gosh, please tell us. It'll be so cool. We can jump in there and we can like repair the relational fabric of our community. Before it gets too bad. You know, a stitch in time saves 9, and that means relational fabric stitches too. It's a really cool system, so please don't be shy. Fill out the type form if you see anything that could be improved on our relational on the conflict side. Also, we one other thing that I always talk about every call is the advice process. This is how we stay flat. This is how we make sure that the conflicts don't even happen in the first place. When you make a decision, if you find we have a very power comes from the bottom up in this community, and you guys can make any decisions that you want. Only thing that we ask is that when you're making decisions and taking the TEC in a certain direction, just before making that decision, ask yourself, hey, is there someone who might be affected by this decision? Is there an expert in this decision, in the topic that I'm deciding about? If you can think of somebody, just go talk to them right before you actually make the decision and get their advice. And then the decision will be a way better received by everyone. So that's always great. And and of course, the most important news that we have, probably the only thing you need to know in this community call, is that the hatch is open. You can go to hatch.tecommons.org. You can throw some Rapdex. You can join our community in a very official way. So jump on in, watch the community video. It's a gem. Praise Mount Manu for that one. Read the terms and conditions. I wrote them. I'm proud of them. You will enjoy them, I swear. So, and with that, I'll pass it to the working groups. The community stewards, and unless someone else was told to take it on, I will take it on because Tam is on vacation, which is great major round of applause to Tam for taking some time for herself, touring the States with her friends. There isn't a whole lot to say here. The Community Stewards Working Group, our goal is to kind of, Tam's goal with the Community Stewards Working Group is to keep everyone moving in the same direction and help us stay organized. And we hatched. We hit a major milestone. This is why Tam can take vacation, because we did it. We got launch tech. Everybody's launched. And now we're just focusing on the next steps. We're actually going to have like kind of a slow, we're not going to do our normal 2-week sprints this round. We're going to do things a little bit differently and extend our timing so that we can really focus on the hatch prep and get people participating. So yeah, if you ever want to come to our sprint planning, it's on the TE calendar. It is open. It is for stewards. You'll probably just be listening in, but it is open. You can always join on every other Friday. We also have our sprint retrospectives on Thursdays, and you can always check out the sprint board. So that's super cool. And yeah, we had Paris. Also in the slides, you can find like some really cool graphics that explain the hatch process, explain the bond, give like a really nice infographic around the bonding curve, conviction voting, disputable voting, and I think we'll talk more about that with Hatcher Outreach. And I don't see Santi here, so I'll just say there's not much happening in legal, so don't even worry about it. The terms are written and we are hatching, so there will be some action. We meet every 2 weeks. You can check the calendar. It's on Fridays. We are, of course, working on the covenant and getting the proposal terms set. But yeah, I mean, we're ready. Let's go. And with that, finally, I can pass it to Wonka. You want to take it on, Wonka, and tell us about gravity?
Thanks, Griff. Well, for me, it was a pleasure to be representing Gravity in the idea of fostering mediation in the DAO space to several communities and to several people. And I got a very positive response to everything, to everyone that we shared the project and our goal. So that is very motivating to continue going forward in this direction and to scale Gravity, not like all to apply it in the TEC, but not only to have it in the TEC, but to have it as something that can benefit the whole ecosystem. And we will have our call, our working group call after this call. And the spoiler for this call is that we will have some new contributors, and that we will also be talking about the updates on scheduling and planning of the next Graviton training that hopefully will start at mid of September. So for the people who is new, the idea of Gravity is to foster mediation and conflict management in DAOs, and training people to participate in the centralized communities in these topics, so that we can prevent issues from happening, and also we are able to manage it properly in the case when it happens. So also there's the Gravity source. Any of or the Gravitons will be contacting you to offer some help.
I think Eduardo is not here also.
Oh no. Yeah, I think I can take it as long as you guys can still hear me. The big hatch outreach action is it's time to do hatch outreach. Do you know anybody who wants to put some money into the hatch? Go talk to them. This is the moment. Let's, feel free to be a missionary and an advisor and help people get into this baby because it is go time. We're very lucky to be having this whole system in place where actually, if you participate in the hatch right now and we don't reach our min goal, you get all your money back. So it's a pretty risk-free opportunity because the funds will come back. If we do make the 800K min goal, then your funds will actually initialize the bonding curve, and you'll end up getting a really good deal, likely, on the price of the token. So it's kind of like the hatch is kind of like the seed round of the TEC. So if you know anyone who is interested in token engineering and would like to support that, definitely feel free to reach out. We have this great Hatcher guidebook, this handbook right here that kind of has a checklist about all of the things that they would want to know, what they need to do. They need to apply to the trusted seed, activate their membership, and then go get WraptXDAI to put it into the hatch. It's an easy 1, 2, 3. But if you know of anybody that you think would be a good idea to jump into this, tell us, or do it yourself and get them in. hatch.tecommons.org. And with
Please
that,
say again how we get to the handbook. Where do we find that handbook?
Yeah, they're actually in the slides. Well, so it's in the Git book. Hopping around. Where is it? So it's in the.
I will post it in general.
Thank you. Yeah, it's under Hatch 101, I think. But it's yeah. I mean, Wonka will post it in general. There's so much good action in the Git book. Livia, Nate, Mitch, and the whole crew did such a good job at putting all of this stuff together. It's really just where all of the most up-to-date information is. So you'll not only find this Hatcher checklist in here, but man, if you just cruise around, you'll find so much cool information. And with that, yeah, let's pass it to Livia.
Thanks. Yeah, for SoftGov, so we're coming back of an unusual week, and I just posted the presentation that Tim and I put together for the cultural practices for self-governing communities, so you can find the slides there. And we identified 10 cultural practices. So gratitude, celebration, duocracy, having working groups, stewardship, participatory decision-making, inclusion, transparency, education, and conflict management. And it was very insightful to present this and the feedback that we received. And I just wanted us all to be very proud of ourselves in this sense, because we've been building this culture together. And a lot of what we have to show now is from practice, and not only from theory, but applied theory into our practice and seeing like the things that emerge from how we behave with each other. And I'm just like completely in love with this community. The praise 1 minute wasn't enough today. So I just wanted to, thank everyone, and to say that we really should be like very happy with ourselves for how far we've been with cultural practices. And then we started to look into our decision tracking. So I've been putting this together since day one of like, what are all of the soft governance decisions we made. There is, I think, 2 missing down there. I put the MVV now, but we still need the PARAMS and impact hour decision that happened through token log. So I'm starting to review all of them. And if anyone wants to help me in that endeavor, it doesn't need to be organized. If you just like are curious about one of them and you want to look it up, or just have an overview of like, are these decisions still in place? Are we like, is there something that we should revote? How did our movement go? This is also something interesting for just the research in general. And then last thing is, yeah, I was also going to reinforce advice process today, but I'm happy you did that, Griff. So if you have any questions about like how this advice process works, how could you like get more involved with it? We have a little template in the forum. You can follow that through if you want to make like a more formal approach to advice process. Maybe if you don't know everyone in the community and you want to post something out there and we can help identifying who are the people that would be affected by something or not. And if you just have questions, also like feel free to reach out. And then we have orientation calls every Wednesday led by Katie. So she prepared a step-by-step of how to understand our community. And these calls are great for anyone that wants to like catch up and ask questions. So join next week if you're new here. And with that, I'll pass to transparency, Zepti.
Thank you, Livy. Yeah, on transparency, we gather bi-weekly on Monday, 3 p.m. CET. So next Monday we will have a transparency call. For the dates, we were on SCC gathering a lot of information. So just gathering information how other DAOs do with their transparency. And on the unconference, we also make a round on market data and transparency around our common pool. I tag YGG, they're a subject matter expert on that forum post. And it would be super cool, like we have a deeper discussion in there. And also, after seeing Umberto some questions around how to bridge some tokens, also by the next I don't know, before the next transparency call, we will make some videos on how to grab some XDAI, how to bridge, everything you need for the hatch. Maybe do 2 videos, like 1 minute each or something like that. And yeah, that's it. I'll pass it to Omega.
Who wants to take on Omega this time?
Letty is here.
Hey, Letty. You have any updates on Omega?
We can't hear you.
Man, that's too bad we can't hear you, Letty, because I love these new dotted lines on top of the flower. That looks fun.
Maybe you could try jumping out and back. Sometimes Discord acts weird.
Here, let's pass it to YGG really quick while she works on her mic. You want to take it for labs, Sean?
Yeah, thanks, Griff. Go ahead to the next slide there. So yeah, we got coming out of the Block Science Open Research Initiative is this idea of the proposal inverter. So it's a pretty high impact, high leverage mechanism that's been identified by various DAOs. And so it says the idea is instead of having many proposals on a single DAO, you can have one proposal across many DAOs. So if there's something that's needed in a lot of places, then funds can be pooled from multiple DAOs to get it funded and get that service available. And Juan was giving a big thumbs up here because we see this working well for the Gravity working group and being able to provide those Gravity services across many DAOs. So Z was very kind with his time to give me a sort of overview of how we can produce a spec and produce a model for this. And then I brought that to the labs last week. We had a lot of fun, a really good response from some very ambitious builders. So we're going to continue on that path for a few weeks and see what we can put out with spec and modeling. And this also reflects a lot of the demand that came out of, we did a couple sessions on what does the year ahead look like for labs. and there was a high resonance towards like an ecosystem of models or a library of models. So I think this is a great first step in producing a model for the library. Other than that, there's open development workshops happening on Token Spice in collaboration with the Token Engineering Academy. There's a small micro DAO called Ocean Spice, which is like a micro DAO funded by Ocean DAO. Pretty cool emergence there. And then, of course, the Longtail Financial Crew is coming out and building as well. So those are happening 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, 9 p.m. PST, 6 a.m. CET. So come build with us. Thanks, Griff. Back to you.
Okay, Letty, how's that mic working? Oh, finding the unmute button because you're still muted. Oh no! Okay, well, Letty, at any time, just unmute and say something, and then I'll know I can pass it back to you, okay? Chewy, you want to take on comms?
Yes, Griff, thank you. So in comms, we meet on Tuesdays, and we just brought a bunch of media and content back from ETC. So the first thing that we're gonna put together is like a small after movie for the conference that the TEC had. Oh yes, there's Katie. And also we are halfway through our hatch campaign, which has been working really nice. Big shout out to Ivy, Acid Laser, Mount Manu, David, who did an amazing job running a lot of the comms while we were in Paris. Also, as a reminder, we have the content workshops. So if there's anything that you would like to work on or would like to contribute, feel free to come by any of the content workshops. And we're also going to start an advice process for the hatch animation video. So keep an eye to the Stewards channel so that you can give us your point of view on this matter. And with this, I'll pass it back to you, Griff, and Param.
So much action in params, it's insane. Mount Manu's coming so strong with the user testing. Already a bunch of people have issued praise Mount Manu for walking them through, gathering some data. If you want to see a sneak peek into the dashboard, the education process that we're taking at the very beginning is what we're looking at right now. Don't feel like you have to be a token engineer, although you can be, to test it out. You can. We're really looking for the whole spectrum of our community to come and play with our dashboard before we publish it, to validate that anyone who touches it can actually participate in designing their own economy. So, and our own economy. So it'll be super cool, and I really think that you guys will love it. There's been major action on the Python backend. Vitor and Nuggin are really leading the way over there right now. They have everything pretty much done, validated. So with the core pieces, so that's super cool. And of course, Marco and Mitch have been just killing it on the designs. So yeah, and but I want to give special praise and shout out to the forums, Nate, Lauren, Mitch, Nuggin, Mount Manu, Zeptimus, and everybody who has really been putting in efforts. We have almost every single parameter documented here that you would want to learn about. So if you want to learn about disputable voting parameters, Mitch killed it. The complicated conviction voting stuff, Lauren was all over it. The augmented bonding curve and token thaw, that's like a mix of Nate and Mount Manu. So jump in there, and then we also have these advanced parameters. So there's a really interesting blog post that I think you guys will enjoy about how we're deciding to use the power of defaults for some of the more complicated parameters. So if you want to understand how we're doing that, there's a new blog forum post up there for that as well. And I think I don't see Sam here from the Common Swarm or Paulo, so I can take this one too. The Common Swarm, hey, the hatch is up. You guys are enjoying it, right? So that's done. That's cool. And we're making major progress on the Commons upgrade. We have an auditor. He's actually Brett, from formerly of Aragon 1. There's really not a better person to review the bonding curve code base than Brett. So we're very lucky to have that working for us. That's kind of the big task of the week. Of course, also EVM CRISPR, which has gotten many highlights, is pretty much ready, and we're just going to start working on getting some demos out for the Commons upgrade, so that we can deploy gardens that the Garden Swarm has made this fully functional Gardens template with an issuance, and so the Common Swarm is now going to use that as the base and replace the issuance app with the augmented bonding curve app, and then boom, we have our Commons upgrade. There's of course a few little details in there. Okay, there's a lot of other details in there that need to be tested and made sure that they're all wired up together, so we'll be working on getting some demos out there. And major praise to Bradley for keeping us all organized and on pace. So, Letty, one last chance. How is your mic working? No, still can't hear you. You unmuted. Does anyone else want to try to take on Omega? Give us some updates. Okay, well, I've done all these other working groups, so what the hell? Why not Omega too? So the big thing about Omega is really getting a better understanding of what is going on in the token engineering scene, who are the token engineers, what do they need, and especially what kind of ethical topics are going to impact them in their work. So it's really an overview of what we need to do to make progress in that direction. The meeting is next week on I believe Wednesdays, right? And so definitely come next week if you want to dive into token engineering ethics and understand better who the token engineers really are. Okay, so I think we made it through everything, and now we have this awesome TEC spotlight with someone we picked up in Paris who we were just chatting, and he blew my mind, he blew Livia's mind, and we're just like, oh my god, the world needs this. And just like that, he shows up at our spotlight video. So, do you want to take it away, Michael, and introduce yourself and your project?
Yes, sure. I'm really glad to be invited to this community call, and I want to share the project I've been working on with you. I will start to share my screen with you. 1 second. So, Michael, I'm a researcher and developer. I live in Germany, and I finished my PhD recently. So I did it in theoretical chemistry and handed it in June. So I'm now free again, and I found time to continue with a project that originally started at East London last year and had been on my mind for a long time. So, and especially in London, this was a time of the Brexit, and people were really unhappy with that decision, and frustrated that such a complicated question like Brexit, yes or no, it has so many aspects, was decided by a simple vote, yes or no, basically. And this led us to think about how can DAO solve this decision problems, or also how can we make better decisions that are well informed and where people are aware of all the aspects. So yeah, and this was the motivation behind Arbor vote. So what's wrong with the conventional voting systems? Like, people are often misinformed or don't have like a clear view of all the aspects, and also it is vulnerable to populism and misinformation as well. Like, people actively trying to manipulate the decision outcome. So, and then also in the end, when the decision was made, it lacks transparency. What was the reasoning behind it and why people voted this way? This is also not clear. And in contrast to that, there are deliberative governance forms that exist in theory but are not used often in practice. And this is basically people coming together and starting a debate and doing exactly that thing that is missing, like considering the aspects and exchanging them, and like, yeah, thinking about the importance of them. But this is, of course, time consuming and not really scalable, but because you cannot have many participants in such a debate. And in the best case, they find an consensus in the end, and then this is fine, but often it also results like they're like still undecided, and then they fall back to a majority vote, which is quite common. So what's the solution? A solution would be an online platform where people can debate and make deliberative decisions, and this can be done using argument trees. And there's actually a really nice website I want to show you that has been around for a long time. It's called untitled.com, and I will quickly jump in one debate. And so on the top of the page, you already see the argument tree that is part of this decision process or debating process. And the statement at the top is, humans should act to fight climate change. And then you see in green pro arguments that support this statement, and in red con arguments that oppose this statement. And let's just read one of them. Dealing with the effect of climate change in the future would be much more complicated than dealing with them now. And here is like a small bar where you can rate the impact. And for me as a scientist, I would clearly support the statement. So I would give it like maybe even a 4, like this is something that many people did. And now let's also look at the con arguments. One is, for example, the money necessary to fight climate change can be used to better ends. And for me, it would be interesting to see why people are of this opinion. And then you can simply click, and you see that a whole new layer of the tree is expanding. And there are now pro and con arguments for this statement, like money can be spent or used to better ends. And you can also rate them. And if we move back, then we see also that there's some editing going on where people like suggested some changes or also suggesting to move these arguments elsewhere. So this is a really great platform. And if you want to have an overview over the whole tree, you can click on this small icon here, and you see all the different aspects of this decision and the whole, multi-layered structure, so to say. And the shading or coloring, like the darker the color, the more people are seeing this as an important argument. And so we should act fraction is like winning here, so to say. So this is Kialo.com, really awesome platform. You see that also many people are participating. So this is something that is really great, but we actually cannot use it to really make we cannot really use it for voting because it's a centralized platform. And so the idea behind Arbor Vote is to make a Web3 version of this and use it for actual decision making. So it is planned as an on-chain voting module that can be plugged in any dApp or DAO and is free to use and a public good. It is therefore, of course, decentralized, permissionless, and tamper-proof, so people do not have to trust the infrastructure they're using. And very important, there's also an incentive structure for the people to participate, because time and attention of people is a scarce resource, and we should be aware of that. And what comes with this argument tree is like a really transparent overview about all the different aspects of the decision, and that really quickly onboards people to the debate so that they can contribute or inform themselves about the different perspectives. And this, using this for voting, creates legitimacy of the whole process by design, as also Vitalik wrote an interesting article about. And it is also creates accountability in hindsight if you retrospectively look back, which participant did a good job in rating the impact of the arguments and so on. So, and the incentive structure is really the crucial part here. Those first two things that basically are naturally included if you build it in on the blockchain. So what are the design ideas behind Arbor Vote? There are 3 stakeholders and 3 phases I will introduce to you. So the first stakeholder are the debaters, then there are the curators and the voters. And the 3 phases are it starts with the curation phase, where the people, the debaters, can exchange the arguments or place them in the tree. Then they can edit them. There might be some pruning necessary to keep it really clear and structured. And there might be also the need to remove spam, duplicates, or even hate speech. And this can happen via courts such as Claros or Aragon, or as I now heard, maybe also Gravity. Then, when the curation phase is over, after some time period, then the tree structure is finalized and people can vote on the arguments, or let's say rate them. And here the debaters and the voters participate in the process. So the debaters have to put something at stake. So they have to put something at stake because they use also the attention of the other people, and the voters can invest somehow in the arguments, and this is done via a prediction market. Before you now think that this might be not a good idea, we can also give everyone fair shares in this, fair token shares to participate with equal voice in this markets. And in the end, when the markets close, then we have importance of these arguments displayed via the prediction markets, and we can tally the results. And this is done by the program, the blockchain smart contract, or maybe even a roll-up, and then we accumulate the different impact of the arguments from the leaves of the tree up to the root. And depending on if the pro or supporting arguments are the majority, then the decision should be made. And if not, if the opposing arguments are the majority, then it should not be, the decision should not be done that way. So I wanted to pick one phase that is the most interesting part, and I picked the rating phase to give a bit more detail about how the done with the prediction market, and this has actually some nice properties and creates the right incentives for the participants to really behave rationally and I will talk a bit about it. So the debaters, they have vote tokens or governance tokens. Maybe fair shares in them, and they can use them to, or they have to use them to mint approval or disapproval shares for their argument. And they can do it in a self-chosen ratio. The default would be that equal amounts of approval or disapproval shares are like minted. And later they will earn fees from people who are voting on this markets and buy those approval or disapproval shares. And this is before the market opens. Then the markets are opened for the voters, and they can invest vote tokens to buy approval or disapproval shares. And for them, this is an opportunity to identify under or overrated arguments. So this is what we actually want. We want to see if this initial ratio that was set by the debater is like somehow not the right ratio. And if it is not the right ratio, then there's an incentive for voters to invest in the arguments and take the opportunity to buy underrated or overrated shares of under or overrated arguments. And of course, while they are buying these shares, they have to pay fees to the debaters that own the argument. So, and at some point, the markets close after a time period. And in this case, like the voters can redeem their shares, and they might be risen in value or like declined in value. And then they get some amount of vote tokens back, and the debaters have to take what remains in their argument market. And if the ratio didn't change much from the initial ratio, then they are fine, and they also earn the fees. But if the initial ratio was wrong, like they judged the argument like more important than it was, or more having more an impact than it actually had, then they suffer a loss that may be even greater than the fees in the end. And so this is the idea how the markets incentivize the participants to determine the value of the argument. And it also incentivizes them to maybe to consider arguments that are in deeper layers of the argument tree, because they are somehow influencing the quality or the value of the argument in question. So so this is the basic idea how to determine the impact or the value or the approval of an argument in this setting. So, and to wrap this up and give like the most important point. So Arbor Vote is a voting module for deliberative decision making, and it uses argument trees and prediction markets to achieve this. And if you want to follow up, you can follow up on this. You can add or follow me on Twitter or Arbor Vote on Twitter, or also join the Discord or visit the website. And I want to thank for your attention, and I'm really happy to discuss this with you.
Wow, thank you so much, Michael. That was such a cool presentation and a great idea. I think we can all appreciate how important it is to have good arguments built into the voting system. So this is a super cool project. I'm sure that a lot of us will dive into following you on Twitter and seeing where you take it. And I hope that you'll consider proposing to the TEC, potentially even for a small milestone funding or something to advance it. Once, of course, we hatch and do our commons upgrade. So don't forget, guys, tell all your friends it is hatch time. Get it there and go to hatch.tecommons.org if you haven't already, and make sure that you can at least send one wrapped XDAI into it. Just make sure that everything's working for you. And tell your friends and make sure it's working for them too. And don't forget, hatch. And gravity is next. So I guess I'll see you guys all over there. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, guys.